Hello everyone, I'm Sean.
This is Hoon.
And we are the Courageour Frights, back once again for another movie review.
Yes.
This time we did Abigail. So this is the latest horror film from Radio Silence, the guys that made the most recent Scream movies, and we reviewed some of their VHS stuff before.
Yeah, VHS shorts.
Yeah. So, we just got back from this. I thought it was pretty decent. It's kind of more... The marketing for this, if you've seen the trailers, it seems like they were trying to play up like the Megan dancing monster trope type of thing.
Yeah.
But this is almost a whole movie built around it. Whereas Megan, it was like one scene and that was it.
Yeah, because there's like a whole section where she's like dancing, because she's like dancing and is controlling her or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. In case you don't know, which, I mean, it's probably not much of a spoiler at this point. It's in the marketing. But this movie, Abigail's pretty much a vampire.
Yeah.
And she's like a ballerina vampire.
Yeah, which is actually a line in the movie. It's like, it's a ballerina vampire. Where Elon Musk, I think, says it or something.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
There's one guy in here that looks exactly like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
But he's like French-Canadian.
Yeah.
So the cast in this is pretty good. I feel like this is the type of movie that's built around the characters.
Yeah, because this was definitely a comedy, so...
Yeah. It's more comedic than... If you're going to compare it to Megan, this is much more comedic than Megan was. Megan... As much as they played up Megan to be like a comedy to get people to come to the theater or something, it wasn't really.
No.
There's like some funny stuff here and there, but for the most part, it's a fairly
I think it had that
movie.
TikTok thing that blew up because she was doing that weird dance in the hallway.
Yeah, that's literally it. But they built the marketing entirely around the TikTok dance. To the point that they made it PG-13 to get more people in. And then this one is like a much harder R.
Yeah, there is a lot of, not really violence, but just gore.
It's a lot of blood.
Yeah, blood everywhere. Like, people explode in this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very bloody movie, but over-the-top blood.
Actually, I thought this looked better. The blood effects in this was much better than Renfield.
Oh, Renfield looked awful.
It was like horrible. Yeah. This was like more like practical.
Yeah, Renfield looked terrible.
Yeah.
We did Renfield last year or whatever. Yeah. I personally wasn't a huge fan of Renfield.
Yeah, it was...
it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not terrible, but this is more in line with that, though.
Yeah.
Like, that was a comedy. This isn't quite as goofy as Renfield, but it's like more of a balanced horror.
Yeah, because that one more was, I think... It was like, I would say comedy, horror. This is more horror comedy.
Yeah.
Horror first, comedy second. But it does have like a lot of comedic elements to it. So
Right. So basically the basic premise of this film... We're probably not going to get into spoilers.
Yeah.
The basic premise of the film is there's a group of people that are put together on like a mission, sort of a heist type thing. They kidnap a girl and then they take her to a mansion somewhere.
Yeah, where it's like random mansion somewhere.
Yeah, random mansion where they don't know each other.
Yeah. And
they take the girl to random mansion where Giancarlo Esposito is there, who's the bad guy from The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He's there, and he says they're basically going to they're kidnapping this girl, and they're holding her for ransom because her dad's like a really rich businessman, mogul type of guy.
They really don't say who this dad is. It's kind of vague.
Yeah. And then it turns out the girl's not what she seems.
Yeah.
And carnage and mayhem ensues.
Yeah.
And so it's, like you said, it's pretty good. The cast of characters is entertaining.
Yeah.
The guy who's that Kevin Durand
looks like Elon Musk. He's like the dumb one. I guess.
He's like a dumb muscular dude.
Yeah, he's just like a bouncer or something. I don't know what he is. Like the muscle, I guess you can say.
Yeah, and then Melissa Barrera, who's become very popular because of the Scream movies.
Yeah,
which she was fired from.
Yeah, which I think is made by Radio Silence as well.
Yes, she just kind of went with Radio Silence to the next project.
Yeah.
Because I know we've not actually seen any of the Scream movies.
Yeah. Which
is weird, because we're basically a horror channel.
Yeah.
But I know Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega are both like the leads in the new Screams.
Yeah.
And so Melissa Barrera went over here. Jenna Ortega's been doing all kinds of other horror
she does
stuff.
A lot of stuff.
She's doing all kinds of... Most of it's horror. And then she's kind of the lead of this film. And then... Who else is in this?
Yeah, like I think Dan. I gotta look at these pictures because I don't know the people. Yeah, Dan Stevens is like the other guy. He's kind of like he's like the de facto leader or something. I think he was supposed to be considered the leader.
Oh yeah.
He's kind of like he's very stern. He's like the stern leader, I guess you can say that. I don't know what to call it, but
yeah. So Dan Stevens, he's supposed to be in. Where have we seen him? Was he in Godzilla Kong?
He looks familiar. He probably was. Let me see what.
I think he was the. Was he the dentist guy?
Yeah, he was Godzilla X Kong. Yeah, he was the dentist guy. He was Trapper.
Yeah.
That's why he looked familiar.
He does look familiar. He looked familiar, but he was very different in this.
Yeah, he was a lot more stern in this one.
Yeah.
Maybe because he's like supposed to be playing as the stern guy.
Yeah. And then Alisha Weir played Abigail.
Yeah.
Kathryn Newton, I knew I recognized her. She's like the hacker girl.
Yeah, she's the hacker girl that's like from Paranormal Activity 4.
Yes, she was in Paranormal Activity 4. More recently, she was in like Ant-Man, Quantumania, and stuff. So,
she's Lang or whatever her name is.
Yeah, Cassie. Yeah, so she's kind of like I said, they have a team put together, and each one has a different skill set. Her skill is like hacking and computer stuff. And then there's Angus Cloud, who unfortunately passed away.
Yeah, because at the end of the movie, there's like a what are they called? Remembrance,
like memorial.
Yeah.
Thing. And he's
like driver. The stoner. He's a
stoner, but he was the driver.
Yeah, he was a driver stoner.
Yes.
And you could barely understand what he was saying. I don't know what he was.
Yeah, this is actually.
He literally looked like he was just high on the set.
This was actually the first thing I've ever seen with him in it. And I've not watched Euphoria. I know that show's very popular because I know a lot of people were upset when he passed away.
Yeah.
And this is unfortunately the only thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and that was a little bit hard to. Or at least understand what he was talking about or something. I don't know.
Yeah. He was more of a comedic character again. Him and the Elon Musk looking guy were basically the comic.
Yeah, they were the comic duo there.
Comic relief in this film. So, but yeah, overall the comedy's pretty decent. The characters are good. The violence and gore is
they really good. Put that up to like 10 points.
Yeah, it's a bit cheesy, but it's intentionally cheesy. Yeah. So, anything else you want to say about Abigail?
Which, actually, one thing that I didn't know, and we were looking it up before he did this, but is this actually part of the Dark Universe?
Yeah, it started out that way.
It is now dead, but it's still alive somehow.
The undead Dark Universe.
Yeah.
Yes, this started out as a remake of Dracula's Daughter, which is a 1936 sequel to the Bela Lugosi Dracula film.
Yeah.
That's mostly forgotten.
Yeah.
Now you made that point. This year is kind of weird because all of a sudden in 2024, we've now had, in the less of a month span, we've now had 2 movies that weirdly took ideas from forgotten 1930s sequels.
Yeah.
Because last month you had Godzilla Kong, which has a Son of Kong plot element.
Yes.
Which Son of Kong, of course, is a 1932 mostly forgotten sequel to the cinematic classic King Kong.
Yeah.
This time, you had Abigail, which is essentially a reworking of Dracula's Daughter, which is a mostly forgotten sequel to Dracula.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a sequel to Dracula, actually. I didn't even know there was even a Dracula's Daughter, to be honest.
I know I've seen it because I've gone through that whole like Universal monster collection before, but I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah.
We went through the entire plot synopsis, and this has almost nothing to do with it.
Because in Dracula's Daughter, at least reading the synopsis, it's about like an adult woman trying to get away from vampirism.
Yeah, it's like she's trying to break the curse, the vampire curse that was put on her by Dracula, thinking that now he's dead, she can move on.
Yeah.
But in fact, she can't. This movie does deal with the vampire curse type stuff, but it's not focused on that.
No.
And it does the trope where as long as the person who turns you into a vampire dies, then
you're done. You're like away from that or whatever.
Yeah, the curse is broken.
Yeah.
Which obviously wasn't the case in the original.
No.
So, yeah, this started out as that. It probably was like the first draft or two of the script probably was that.
I think I was reading somewhere that apparently the first draft followed more how Dracula's Daughter was, and then they just switched it after the first draft. They're like, we're doing something different.
Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't realize going into this that it was actually a Universal monster film.
Yeah, which... Actually, if the quality is like this in the Dark Universe, because the first Mummy movie was not good.
Yeah, well, we're not even in the Dark Universe anymore, because now these are all like standalone things.
I guess that's why the Dark Universe is still there, but it's like standalone movies, because it was... Invisible Man actually was the second one in that Dark Universe series, but it's totally different than anything else.
Yeah.
Because it's like some guy that just is a scientist guy that makes like an invisible... And he's almost like a... What do they call it when you're like... An abuser or something?
Yeah. That one, that focused more on like domestic abuse and like a survivor trying to fight back.
And people not believing the person that's like the person being abused type of thing.
Right. That was a much more serious take. And then this is like a comedy. And Renfield was in the middle of it. That's kind of similar.
Yeah, I guess that was one. That was more like a comedy as well, but it's like a vampire comedy.
That was even more of a comedy.
Yeah, and with very, the blood effects were not good.
The CGI blood.
Yeah.
And the next one, I think, is the Wolfman.
I wonder where they're going to go with that. I wonder if they're going to go horror comedy or maybe just straight horror, which they could go werewolf. Like, if it's maybe like American...
They could do anything with it, because there's been so many werewolf movies over the years that they've done horror, they've done comedies with it, they've done horror films with it.
I don't think they... Or are they doing a Frankenstein movie? Which that would be surprising if they don't do one.
Guillermo del Toro is doing one. But I don't know if it's like a universal thing or if it's just
like a
general.
Like a Mary Shelley's or something.
Yeah, because Frankenstein's a public domain character. So I'm not sure if it's connected at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is at least one There's been several Frankenstein-esque movies like in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Even the last few months, I think.
I guess that's a good thing to have this. It's like almost modernizing the Universal monster, because that one... Didn't they do that in the 90s or something? They try to do that again.
Well, they've done it several times.
Yeah, it's like it keeps doing it every so often, and then a lot of times they fail, but...
Yeah, Frankenstein and Dracula both have been done over and over and over again. The Mummy, not as much. We think The Mummy's been done to death because, last 20-some years.
Yeah.
This is actually the 25th anniversary of the Brendan Fraser one.
Yeah.
But... those are more in the public mindset because of those films.
Yeah.
But until that happened, there wasn't really a Mummy movie for a very long time.
Yeah, because that was like in the 30s or 40s.
30s,
yeah. It's like something along that. And that was like
30s, and I think Hammer did one like in the 50s or something. But that wasn't as done as much. Dracula is constantly done.
Dracula's always done.
There's like 2 or 3 Dracula movies almost every year.
Because last year you had, Renfield and the Demeter one.
Yeah, the last Voyage of the Demeter. Which we both liked, but
that was a good one. No one watched it. Yeah.
And then, Renfield, Demeter both happened. This, which is another Dracula-connected film. And then Frankenstein's always done.
Yeah, Frankenstein, which, as I say, if they're making another Frankenstein with Del Toro, that might be the one that they had in a while. Because I was about to say I, Frankenstein, but I don't think that's a real movie. I don't know.
No, there is a I.
Is it? Okay.
That was a while ago. It was like
I thought it was like I, Robot. I was thinking, I couldn't remember if it was like I, Robot or I, Frankenstein.
There's also Victor Frankenstein, which was like a comedy movie.
Yeah.
I think there was like a Lisa Frankenstein or something like that.
Oh yeah, and I think one of them that was pretty well received, which that was like almost like a Bride of Frankenstein or something. I
don't know. I heard about it, but I don't know too much about it. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on with the state of Universal monsters. Yeah. It's been looking up, I think.
Yeah, if quality's like this, they have good directors, like Radio Silence is pretty decent. And whoever did Invisible Man, I think he was actually a pretty big director and stuff.
Yeah, and then Lee Winnell is supposed to be doing the Wolfman.
Yeah, and then Wolfman, which Lee Winnell, he did all the Conjuring stuff. Or, was it The Conjuring?
It's Insidious.
Insidious, yeah. It's like the same kind of movie, but
yeah. So Insidious. I think he could do a pretty good job with the Wolfman.
Yeah.
Just depends on how he's going to take it, like what direction he's going to go with it.
It's all about the direction, because could go comedy from what seems like, or maybe it could go serious. It could go serious.
He's also the one that did The Invisible Man.
Did you do an Invisible Man? Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I said I thought it was someone that was pretty well received as like a director.
Right. Yeah, he did Invisible Man as well. So if it's like Invisible Man, it's going to go more of a serious route.
Yeah.
I'm personally a big fan of the 2010 remake of Wolfman, but I know a lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
So, although it has been better received in recent years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
That's coming out in January so far.
And I think this movie ending, the way this movie ends, it's almost like it's a one-off too. So.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a one-off.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's gonna be making another one. I hope not.
Sequels to this. I think it's fine as it is.
Yeah, it's a good, enjoyable movie as its own thing.
Some of it almost reminded me of like Violent Night.
Yeah,
like the thing with the kidnappers and the mansion and stuff. Like that had similar aspects.
It does have that feeling to it.
And also, I guess the only other thing I wanted to say before we closed out was that it kind of felt a bit like From Dusk Till Dawn, in the sense that starts as like one thing, and then becomes something else.
It does have that feeling.
It's one of those movies that I almost wish we didn't know it was a vampire movie.
Yeah,
because the plot twist is in it's designed. There's a plot twist designed to like shock the audience, surprise the audience or whatever. But it's like given away with all the promotion.
Yeah, because if you watch any of the trailers, you know that Abigail's the vampire already.
It's like everybody knows that, and that's what's drawing people into the theater.
Yeah,
but like in the case of From Dusk Till Dawn, it's essentially a heist film.
Yeah,
until they go to that club down in Mexico or whatever, and then it suddenly turns into a vampire movie.
Yeah,
that's kind of what happens here. It's like these guys kidnap a girl. And then you don't know if it's going to be like a ransom movie. Like, what the hell are they doing here?
Yeah.
And then suddenly she's a vampire.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. Same sort of idea.
Yeah.
Where it started out as just like a crime film and then it turns into a horror thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with that, that's going to do it for our review of Abigail. So if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. Consider subscribing for more content like this in the future. And you too can feel the strength welling within. See ya.
See ya.